Once again, you are heartily welcome back to the program this Friday morning of the 10th day of May 2024. The program on air, of course, is Press Brief, and on this program, the papers always come first. Representation, I am attending Larry Kevin Tabot. We start off with the first print for today. Municipal updates. Municipal updates of Victor Cham for this morning talks of boosting sub-regional integration. Cameroon Congo sets Balam Nabela Iron Ore Deposit project in motion. That is what the paper for municipal updates tells us for this morning. Monday Village in Fakot Division, Chief Becklin Dango installs Samuel Dive as quarter head, and in that said paper. Bottom page story talks of at International Forum on Sustainable Development in Istanbul, Turkey. Minister Paul Tasson market Cameroon's national development strategy to the world. Kumba Fonekokomukete de Foot strong peace voters registration call to the population of Kumba after he visited the 50 quarters in Kumba that makes up the town of Kumba. Northwest Southwest, the paper reports on Global Affairs Canada reach out mobilizes women to push for peace, and mobile money usage outpacing the traditional banking sector in Cameroon according to a special economic report that was done on that paper for today. We take you now to Premier Zer. Premier Zer for this morning comes back to the Martinez Zogo affair. He talks of it's me and what else. That is what you can find on that said paper. A purported statement coming from the Secretary General of the Presidency of the Republic, Ferdinand Gongo, according to that publication for today, Premier Zer. We move over to this other story. It talks of garbage in, garbage out as the gas deposit company known as SADP. It says, Madam the Director General wants to acquire a vehicle worth the sum of 120 million CFA francs. Vegetable oil, the paper reports on certain brands of vegetable oil that have been banned by the Cameroonian government. Get to read details on the bottom page story of Premier Zer for today. From Premier Zer, we take you to Cameroon Tribune for this morning. It talks of preparation towards May 20th May celebration. It says the Prime Minister Joseph Dion Gute evaluates. Get to read more on the evaluation meeting that took place yesterday at the Star Building of the Republic with key members in that 20th May celebrations in Cameroon. Ascension Day that was celebrated yesterday in Cameroon and around the world. It talks of prioritizing human dignity. And that said paper, the paper is telling us for this. Okay, the paper is telling us for today that talks of the preservation of Cameroon's image. It says a strategic national strategic plan in motion. You want to find more? That's a paper. At 79 UN General Assembly meeting, Philemon Yang to present vision. You want to find more on that meeting that will be coming up in the month of September. The Nation newspaper from Abuja reports on LLC justifies 615,000 demand. Get to read more on that said publication for today. Rivers House reaffirms legitimacy as Fobara backs three lawyer lawmakers. And Daily Independent for this morning, Senate okays death penalty for drug traffickers. Others, you want to find details on that publication for today. Senate Rep disagree on new 0.5 cyber criminality levy, and Reps prop controversy over the Lagos Calabar coastal line highway. New Telegraph for this morning, electricity tariff, Labour demands reversal of some 65 kilowatts issued 3-day ultimatum. Leadership Friday for this morning says river crisis. Fabara lawmakers still fight to assembly quarters. In a said paper, Tinubu flags of Fontua inland dry port project and strikes. It says implement agreement with ASU. Others reps tells federal government. The Guardian for this morning talks of how real estate firms agency flays prospective property buyers tenant. And that said paper still on the Guardian for this morning talks of House of Reps directs CBN to halt implementation of 0.5 levy 0.5% levy on extraction. Get to read that story. And that said paper. Moving on to Nigerian Tribune for this day, cyber security levy halt implementation. Now Reps tells Central Bank of Nigeria CBN, and Senate approved that penalty for hard rock importers dealers all across Nigeria. Away from the Nigerian tabloid, we come back to Cameroon with the Horizon. The Horizon reports on road maintenance. Three Cameroonian firms secure 29 billion CFA contract in the asset paper. Community development begins with electricity. Light up your community. Simo Group bridging the energy gap in rural areas with Light Up and Power Cameroon. And we move on to Fronted by Council. Bello Cooperative Credit Union goes operational. We get to read more on that publication of the Horizon for this morning. From the Horizon, we'll take you to Yaoundé with the paper of Stephen Ojong, the median. The median for this morning says Yaoundé Military Tribunal impasse persists in Martinez Zogo murder trial. In that said paper, and Chang Ekpe disgrace tradition. He says, who rules over Manu Ekpe society? You get to read more on that said publication for today. May Day celebration, Pamol Fete in style, rewards workers for resilience. Get to read details on that publication of the Median for this morning. From the Median, we take you to the Guardian Post. It says Cameroon Congo take Balam Nabela iron ore project to the next level, and Kumba City Council rubbishes the Southwest Public Independent Conciliator report on poor management unraveling at the Kumba City Council. Editorial of the Guardian Post for this morning. It all should drop ego for legality. In asset paper, PMUC produces 9 Cameroonian millionaires in one day. We move away from the Guardian Post to the Parliamentary Affairs newspaper this time around with a quote to Parliament. He talks of sports quizzer. It says Honorable Kumalum Abba KB wants the International Grand Prix of Cameroon to see the light of day. Get to read more from that quester of sports in the National Assembly. They will take you to Ndian Division with Cameroon Echoes of William Dibaitwe. Says at 2023 Administrative Management Stores account, East Anglia Councillor applauds Magdalene Ponzi for excellent execution rate. Get to read details on that set publication for today. We remain with that publication of Cameroon Echoes of William Dibaitwe on page 5. The paper report on U.S. Embassy Kamasech equips journalists on the investigative reporting. This follows a workshop that just ended over there in the nation's economic capital city of Douala. We take a bow out of the studio with the last publication for today. Vanguard from Abuja says Lagos Calabar Coastal Line Highway says project not okay by the National Assembly procurement for prop, according to reps who tells Vanguard paper for today. Senate okays death penalty for manufacturers of dangerous drugs. Get to read details on that said paper. Cash transfer scheme raise household savings, but little other impact, according to the World Bank reports. Get to read more of these papers and others as we'll be back for the second segment of the program with our reviewer here with us. once again, you are heartily welcome back from that transition. And this is the second phase of the program Press Brief, where we talk on the papers. Our reviewer for today is the fine journalist from the newspaper, The Pilot, all the way from Bamenda, Chebuzi. Good morning to you, Chair, and welcome to the second slot of the program.
Good morning, Larry. I don't know where all the way from Bamenda is.
Oh, yeah, that is where the newspaper is coming from.
Okay.
That is where your paper is based. That's what I'm
Okay.
saying.
So it's a pleasure to be on set High TV this morning to talk to papers, to talk news, and to share ideas on what the press is saying.
All right. We start off with the Guardian Post for this morning. The Guardian Post report on Kumba City Council. Councillor rubbishes Southwest Public Independent Conciliators report on poor management of the Kumba City Council.
Larry, it's an interesting story. It's an interesting story, and it's not so much of a big deal because it's normally expected. After such a report, definitely the councillors will always come out to say, yeah, you were exaggerated. I remember when the Northwest Public Independent Conciliator put out the report, targeting and councils like in Balikumba to also were put there for mismanagement and the rest. Of course, they came out to say, oh, this is not true. It's always not true. We all know all of this because there's always this fight for the image of the council not to be tarnished as much as that. Now, in as much as that, however, we cannot always just say these councils are just talking from the blues.
Yeah.
We need to go back. How was the finding? How was it carried out? In the sense that, because normally it was a survey which was carried out. How was it carried out? How many people were consulted?
An investigation, not only a survey. An investigation.
Who are these people? Because if you go and take sample the opinions of only people who are the opposition, for example, if the council is the CPDM, for example, the opposition, most likely the opposition will tell you that the council is 0 on 10. It's very normal. They will cite so many cases of mismanagement, forgetting the fact or the strides of the council. Yeah. So I think it's a 50-50. If the senior councillors of this council are saying the report of the Public Independent Conciliator for the Southwest is out of place, then we need to go back. How was it carried? But if everything is equal, then I think the councillors, rather than calling the press to come to their rescue, they should rather do the work.
All right, we shouldn't forget this same Kumba City Council. We saw this set establishment where workers took to the streets of Kumba saying they have not had their salaries for a couple of months. Now they are playing the Puntos pilot situation. It's quite baffling because this is a self-municipal structure that was unable to pay workers for a couple of months, and when the public of the independent conciliator for the Southwest region comes out with an investigation report and they flare up.
You know, Larry, it's a little tricky.
Okay.
It's a little tricky managing these funds. Now, I remember a month ago or two, they were on the front page of the municipal updates regarding their grandstand, where they were nailed by that paper. So I want to think that the word mismanagement too it's another word which we might be getting it wrong.
Okay.
To poor management does not necessarily mean you stole, right?
Of course.
It might just mean you
misplaced priorities.
Yeah, exactly. You put the right amount of resources in the wrong project.
You have the salaries of workers you don't want to pay, but you want to pay
the whole council sessions, you do this, and much money is instead being put on the irrelevant things. So when we talk about poor management, it does not necessarily mean that someone is looting the money, though actually someone may be doing just that. So I think that the councillors need to, and if it is the councillors crying out loud, then there is a problem as well, because they are the ones, of course, the council.
The council elections are coming next year.
Yeah, so they are trying to take another mandate.
What they say in Pidgin, you want to buy a head.
Normally, so I think it's the population. If the population said no, we've seen the council for this number of years, they've been able to do this, do that. I think it will be more reasonable than the councillors being the ones, because they're the ones running the council, being the one to say no, everything is in place. I don't think you'll be able to evaluate yourself as much as those you lead would be able to.
All right, and still remain with the Guardian Post story on the Samuel Etofi's saga. It says Etofi should drop ego for legality's sake. What do you make of that?
Samuel Eto'o in the news. I always say, after after food and Eto'o, I think the most talked about word in this country has been Feka food. You know, after food, it's either we're talking about Eto'o, we're talking about Feka food for the past 1 or 2 years. I really don't have much to say. I saw 2 days or so ago, the federation, some sort of sent out, I don't know if to say to confirm or to appoint, but
to align.
Or to align. But it was the same people, the same group of people, and they've even convened the meeting. Though the date has slipped off. Now, an observer said the communique was signed by the Secretary General, not even by the President. And to him, he was like, does it mean that somehow the President is not in alignment to this decision? Whatever the case, Samuel Eto'o remains the President of the Football Federation.
Sure.
And if the Secretary General signs, it shows that they all have come together, and that is a consensus which they've arrived at. Whatever the case, and if the paper says Eto'o should drop ego for legality, I think that's just an opinion, and we can't hold it for the gospel truth. But all what Cameroonians want to see is football in this country to take an upward turn. We want to see improvements. We want to have or use football as that medium to forget our problems, maybe temporarily.
All right, let's dwell now on the flexing of muscle between Samuel Eto'o and the Minister of Sport and Physical Education, Professor Narcis Moene Kombi, where he goes along to appoint his own persons or those to mount the affairs of the national squad for the football, for the male category for the football slots in the country. Samuel Eto'o issue, or let's say Fecafoot, issue their own communique saying, okay, we kind of abide with the choice of the Belgian tactician Brace, but with certain individuals, we saw the lone Anglophone on that appointment list being trashed out. And this goes a long way to confirm what many pundits says. This said guy from the Senegal division of the Littoral region is someone who have a beef against those from English-speaking extraction.
I would not really like to comment on the issue of whether Anglophones were on the list or not. But if there was no Anglophone on the list, then it's a call for concern normally.
It was just one, according to the appointment from Mark Brees, who did, and now Fecafoot came and vetoed that.
And I think at the helm of Fecafoot, there are English. Let me use the word English. I don't like the word Anglophone. They are English stakeholders, and they should be able to raise the bar. I think the president of the Northwest Fecafoot Bureau is one of the vice presidents.
The fourth and the last vice president.
Anyway, vice president is vice president. So that's
vice president will say vice president without vice president sound bureau.
All the same. What I'm trying to drive at is they should be able to raise these concerns, because they have representation. So I think they should be able to raise this concern. But if they're not giving the voice to, as well, that's a call for concern. Now, generally, I think the little trick between the front and back movement between the Football Federation of Cameroon and the Ministry of Sports, I want to think that it's a little tricky, because the Minister of Sports did not just wake up one morning to say, appointing these persons. He said he's received high instructions from the President of the Republic.
And we did saw how Mr. Biya during the 10th of February address to the youth was really his tone towards the how can we put it, towards the misplay of the football team was highlighted on several notes on that. That just goes a long way to make you know that the Ituri Palace is not happy with the performance of
the team.
The team under the tutelage of Samuel Eto'o.
Now, in an interview with an international press, Samuel Eto'o had said that Paul Biya, President Paul Biya of Cameroon, is the number one sportsman, and he's the only person that has the authority to decide who is to become the coach of the national team of Cameroon. So I think that to an extent, there might just be a little irregularity in the sense that perhaps the president is I don't know, it's normal that the president should appoint the coach, but maybe there was to be a certain consultation in the sense that there was to be a meeting wherein the Minister of Sports, with the decision, they were now to hand over to Fecafoot to be the one to give the announcement or something. But maybe that's where the Minister of Sports went ahead. I can't really say, but then, and the bottom line now is that Fecafoot has aligned after a certain delay. Larry, we're in a very technical situation where power has been centralized, such that if it's not from the Unity Palace, something as little, I will call it little, that's my own perspective, as the head coach of the national team, the president has to decide who is coach. So I think we're in a very much centralized system, and to really blame,
he's the number one sportsman of the republic.
As much as he's the number one chief, number one phone, he's the number one.
The chief of staff. He's
the phone of funds. He's as much as everything. The commander of the armed forces. He's in every field. I don't know if he's the number one journalist.
Our president doesn't do journalism.
So I think that the issue is from the centralized nature of power, and we were looking at Samuel Eto'o, someone who always wants to, I don't know if to say to create a scene, but who doesn't just like to go with the normal flow of things. He always wants to go beyond the status quo, to challenge the powers that be, and some sort, even from his days playing or leading the national team. So we're just looking at someone who is enthusiastic, but as well, he must be enthusiastic within the realms and ambit of the law. I think it's a problem of centralization which we have, which is affecting every other sector. Maybe if we have much more or a far accelerated decentralization, it will help us from this front and back fights over little things which do not really call for so much of attention.
All right, we'll move away from the paper of Christian Guard to the media. And the media of Stephen Ojon for this morning says Yaoundé Military Tribunal impasse persists in Martinez Zogo murder trial. He went further to explain on courts disagree with lawyers over free access to case file. Martinez Zogo's remains still unburied 18 months after.
Wow, the Martinez Zogo story is, I think maybe at the end we'll have something which we can call justice, or should I call it justice, if you wish. It's taken several twists as the days go on. It's taken several dimensions which we least expected at the start of the case. But Larry, the more prolonged it becomes, they're just thoughts, the more boring it might end up being. Now, 18 months after the brutal killing of Martinez Zogo, his body hasn't been buried. So many other things. The court case is still at its basic stage, if I should call it that. But we've not gone too advanced into the findings. We don't see judgment anytime soon. It's really a call for concern. And I think as well the family is in a tight position. Larry, personally, this is just an observation. When someone has died and the person has not been buried, there is a burden which the family continues to bear day in, day out, day in, day out. There needs to be justice for Martinez Zogo, but there needs to be justice for the family. I'll leave it at that.
All right, we'll move on to this one. It says how banks stifle entrepreneurship in Cameroon when it comes to granting of loans to medium-sized businesses to go operational. So how banks stifle entrepreneurship in the country?
I think it's a circle. We cannot hold the banks alone.
Mm-hmm.
We imagine in the in the English speaking regions there is a crisis 8 years running. For a bank to give a loan to someone, and the next day you come and you say there's been 1 month goes down. There are places in these regions. We had the Chada report a few days ago,
Yeah.
which talked about 1 month goes down, and I was shocked. Like in 2024, people sit down in their house for 1 month. It's happening. Giving out loan to someone sitting in their house for 1 month. What happens? Remember, the bank is a business institution. Now, there are other things which come to play. I want to think that it's a circle, Larry, and hitting just hard at the bank will be unfair because it's a circle wherein the bank is as well found wanting. Though they have money to a certain level, but this money is not their money.
Yeah.
It's people's money, and they have to make gains. They have workers to take care of. There's a political situation. Prices are going up every day. Things are changing. In fact, it's so much technical today. You give a loan to someone, the next day you hear the person has been shot dead. It's crucial. It's something which I think it's a cycle. There's an economic situation. The person says, "Oh, prices went up, demand has fallen," and we need to first of all start by solving a lot of problems. You see, Larry, by solving these problems would make a safe space where people are or these institutions are able to trust people. The banks in the course of this crisis, I guess they should have lost good sums of money because we've had cases where maybe non-state actors come to these institutions, loot huge sums of money, and they make away with it. They cannot be traced, and that's that. I remember at maybe 2 years or 3 years into the crisis, there was a phenomenon in Bamenda where banks, it was one financial institution after another. Today, this night, we hear they've gone to this. The next night,
been boggled.
yeah, the safe is being carried out. The next night we hear they've gone here. So it was one financial institution to another. They are confused. They are trying to balance accounts to ensure that they don't run out of business. Nevertheless, I think we all, everything has to go boil down to money. If there is no money, new enterprises cannot open, small and medium-sized enterprises cannot be set up. And if these small and medium-sized enterprises cannot be set up, then the present giants we have will remain the giants forever. And it's a serious problem because these people, they are less competitors, then the economy becomes stifled. We have now more consumer exploitation because there is no alternative and all the less. So I think in as much as the challenges, the bank should try as much as possible to develop strategies such that the economy can keep on striving amidst all of this.
Definitely, and we move on to some a similar caption. That is the Martinez Zogo affair with Premier's report on the Martinez Zogo trial. He said, "It's me and what now?" That is what you can find on Premier's, making reference to the Secretary General of the Presidency of the Republic, Ferdinand Gongo, of that.
The Martinez Zogo affair and how even government officials are commenting on it is interesting. And it makes us understand that it's an issue that cuts across. But some, to an extent, are we commenting from a critical point or from a personal interest?
That's
Because
that's
you know,
what I find quite intriguing.
You know, so sometimes, Larry, when when it's you demand justice so much when your enemy is in the darknet. Yeah, you'll be like, no, that man. So you start to raise your voice. Oh, that person has done, because it's your enemy. If it was another case, you just you care less. But now when it's this person, you're so concerned. You suddenly have take press freedom so seriously.
Justice enthusiast.
Yeah, you become so serious. You're calling for justice, this and this. that's how humans are anyway.
And Africans.
I will not say Africans. It's all over the world.
All
So
right.
it's all over the world. Whatever the case, we pray for justice to prevail.
All right, we talk on this open garbage in open heavens. It says, Madam the Director General of the gas deposit company, known in French as SCDP, calls for the sum of 120 million for the purchase of a new vehicle for her.
Her personal vehicle.
And that money needs to come from the state coffers.
Larry, it's actually a two-way lane here. Now, the councils in the southwest region, at least a couple of them, we have Boya and Tico that I know. Recently, when I say recently, maybe in the past 1 year or thereabout, bought council cars, jeeps for the mayor's vehicles, a good sum of millions. During one of the council session which I was opportune to attend, I heard the mayor say he one day was going to Yaoundé to go lobby for a project or something for the municipality, and his car got bad around one of this forest before you get to the bridge. And so he said, imagine that as his car got bad, the boys in the bushes came and picked him up. Now,
non-state
actors. The council will lose what he was about going to lobby for. His life will be at stake, his family and everything. So he said that these cars are meant for their personal security, such that the council work can progress. And that was what he gets. So it's a two-side lane in the sense that
when they are leaving office, should they go along with the vehicle, or
why?
It stays with the
why? I don't think it's their personal property.
Because we are in Cameroon and we see
and normally we have such cases, and even if the car is not bad, they come up with stories. Maybe the engine is this, that, and they make away with parts, and we know how it's been done for quite a number of years. So I think basically it's a two-way kind of thing. We have people who will think that this money is too much for such. It's an unnecessary expenditure. It's wastage of state resources. It's not only state resources, our resources.
Sure.
Others are of the opinion that this will help facilitate the stakeholders' movements, because if there are no movements, if he's unable to go around, do his work, then as well the corporation will be down. So I think we need to put as well this in cognizance before we want to make a final decision. Whatever the case, Larry, I think that as leaders of such corporations, they should be mindful of the fact that it's all about serving the nation. So if what they're doing is for the good of the nation, I think it's okay. If they have other fishy intentions behind, then time will tell.
All right. Time will tell indeed. Time will tell in no distant time. We move away from that story. We take you now to the next publication for today. The next paper for this morning, Cameroon Tribune. Cameroon Tribune of Marie-Claire Nana for this morning talks of preparation towards the 20th May celebration, National Day celebration. It says PM Dion Nguteh evaluates. The evaluation meeting that took place yesterday at the Star Building, that was presided over by the Prime Minister, Head of Government, Chief Dr. Titi of Nguteh.
We barely few days, that's 10 days, because this is the 10th of May, to the 20th of May 2024, yes. which is the National Day, as it has been celebrated for a good number of years now. It's a day where Cameroonians, the flame of patriotism wants to be rekindled, and usually the celebration comes down with so many aspects. We see, like in the southwest region, a week ago, preparations had already started here with the launch of the Governor's Cup and all the like, celebrating Cameroon. This morning I was I was in one of the secondary schools in Boya,
Okay.
and the talk was about match pass. If you don't match, no report card for you,
All right.
and all of that. I think, Lavi, sometimes in all of these celebrations we do them yearly as a tradition, and Cameroonians do not even understand what the relevance of all of this is. 20th May, the secondary school students, all they know is match pass, and that's it. I think it's high time we begin to incorporate aspects deliberately, intentionally, on patriotism, such that people understand what's really happening. It's not just enough for people to be fighting every day to go and march and all the like. They should understand what's happening, what's the significance of this day, what's it to be a Cameroonian, and how prestigious is my identity, such that I have to keep it, and all of that. I think we need to join sensitization together with our all of these activities we're doing to commemorate. We need to do deliberate sensitization, and as well, it's a time to reflect as Cameroonians. It's a time to reflect as stakeholders how much we've been able, or we are able, to do for our nation, and maybe not how much our nation has been able to do for us.
All right, that is the wise words of late President John Kennedy of the United States of America. When we remain with Cameroon Tribune this time around, the paper reports on yesterday's celebration of the Feast of Ascension, the day Christians all over the world believe Jesus Christ ascended into heaven, body, soul, and spirit, as the paper titles that, prioritizing human dignity.
It's a yearly celebration we're having, Ascension Day, and quite a number of things came up all across. I was listening to the national station last night, and I guess there was so much a prayer for peace and all the traditional prayers we've been doing for the past 8 years. It was another holiday peculiar to the Christians in Cameroon, or to some Christian churches in Cameroon, as much as all over the world, where they believe that Jesus Christ, the Son of God, went up to heaven, body and soul. I think it was just another public holiday for non-Christians to enjoy, and for Christians to retreat and rethink.
All right, and we take you to the 79th session of the UN General Assembly. Philemon Yang presents vision, as he is the candidate from the continent of Africa to be the chairperson of that 79th UN General Assembly.
Wow, it's interesting to see PM or former PM Philemon Yang. Now he's on pace for some great work when regarding international diplomacy, especially at the UN. He's been able to go around the country, or go around the continent, to put together some stakeholders from various countries who could buy into his vision, support him to ensure that he is able to do much. Now, talking about his vision, it's interesting to see that he has a vision. Definitely he should have had a vision to have convinced all of these people. And all I can really say is we have been used to several times to all of these traditional happenings. I think he'll be he's going in for the head of the assembly.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to him winning, or making it true, and then as well for an impact to take course, because Larry, sometimes it's just like some of the prayers which people have been reciting over the years.
Okay.
And Cameroon just wants a place in international diplomacy. There really needs to be an impact, such that when the mandate is over, we're able to see that this was the contribution Cameroon did to to international politics, to UN diplomacy at this particular point in time in history. It's very important that we don't just go after the positions and the titles, but we are able to deliver globally, because I think we've been able to nurse and grow talents, grow people in Cameroon who can impact the world.
All right, moving on to municipal updates of Victor Cham for this morning. It says mobile money usage outpassing traditional banking system in Cameroon.
Mobile money, maybe I should first of all start by giving a cry.
Okay.
Larry, we've had serious issues with mobile money recently. Network issues, I want to say, is general network issues, and sometimes transfers are going on. Now, there is something which I've come to understand with Cameroonians. When something is being introduced, there is always that resistance towards it. Mobile money, I think when when they were creating those accounts, they'll give you 500 fans in your account, or they'll credit you 500. I cannot remember. It's been a long time. I think that should have been like maybe 9 years or so.
Yeah.
And those days, people thought that they want to run away with their money. They want to do this. They want to do that. Cocodon, this, that, and all of that is always being said when there is a phase coming in when people do not understand. And these are the same, permit me to say, conspiracy,
Okay.
which has been surrounding so many spheres of digitalization today, where people are so conservative, not only conservative, yes, and they attack innovation. They think that this innovation is coming to do this, is coming to do that, is coming to create harm. But there's a continuous evolution now. From the banks used to employ Cameroonians to do these transfers. Now we have people in kiosk carrying out these transfers. So the aspect of employment has just left from the banks,
Yeah.
and now we have the people on the streets. Express Union with their, so I should not have called
You
out the
shouldn't have
name
called their
person now.
name.
Because what I wanted to say after that,
Everybody knows them for their poor services, but
I wanted to say
and
possibly, I never
their
wanted to
their rate of rudeness,
yeah, it was
ingratitude,
very
their sense of ingratitude was quite alarming. And it's not only a phenomenon that took place only in one particular part of the country. It is a
all
national
across.
phenomenon.
And
It
you know,
cuts
they
all
thought
across.
that
Say why is your what this signature does not look like a signature. Call that your sender, tell him to he missed one digit. Can you imagine? And all information are
Sure.
and you keep on siphoning the entire stuff.
it was a very bad situation.
And I was told it was one of their workers who got disgruntled, had this perception of mobile money.
And usually you would even want to introduce it to them, but they would deny,
Yeah.
and they would think it won't work. But now it's out there making millions. You see, Larry, one thing which we must understand is that it doesn't matter what's happening now. The institutions, the institutions, and you name them, which are the ones taking the lead now. There comes a time where all of this will be pushed, and we'll have new organizations.
Definitely.
Maybe this is an indirect warning to especially some of these network providers who think that they've been there since the beginning of time. In just some few years, and they keep on getting people's credit and all of that. In just some few years, you might have a shift, and they call the name of your corporation, nobody knows it.
Yeah.
There are people today, you tell them maybe about Express Union, Express Exchange, younger persons, and they will not know
for sure.
what that is. They will not know how at center those things were just few years ago. So I think generally we must always remember that these things are changing, and so institutions must try as much as possible to better their services. Cameroonians must be receptive to new things.
Okay.
When we look at maybe in the sphere of health, they say they're bringing a malaria vaccine. And people keep on ranting. What you don't understand, you don't keep quiet.
Yeah. To
You
find
talk,
out
what's all about. You just keep talking down on it and everything. Maybe I should go a little bit back. I would like to touch this one a little bit. For the COVID-19, we had a vaccine was introduced. We maybe up to now some people are still unclear about it, but it's fine, Larry, not to be clear about an aspect and to sit quiet than not to be clear and you're talking a lot about it. You now causing other people to be afraid, saying things which you do not understand.
You know, some of us, we never took that COVID-19
It's okay. It's okay.
According to our own
like,
precepts.
like the Minister of Territorial Administration said, voting and not voting is a right.
And registration.
Yeah, sorry. Registration to register and not to register. Even though that's a little silly, but
Yeah.
that's true. That's
It's
true,
a right.
Larry. It's a right to sit and decide not to participate. So it's normal as Cameroonians to say, no, I'm not gonna take this, I'm not gonna take the vaccine. But it becomes a problem when you become an evangelist spreading
Fake
issues, fake news, fake information about what you don't understand. Keep quiet, get to understand it. If it's not okay by you, you stay put. But don't keep on discouraging people on what you don't understand. Then the church, I'm sorry, I'm going to say this. The church came in with the mark of the beast. Oh, this, that, and all of that. It was.
You know, I have a friend who works with one of the ministries. He told me, say, oh boy, I'm not in that thing where a minister will go and look for glucose and put in his body in the name of vaccine, and now they take that dangerous thing from the west to come and put it on my body.
Yeah, people were very.
And this is a close aide of the minister. Look, he's a friend of mine. We just laughed over it. I say, you can imagine the perception in which the phobia in which Cameroonians have towards this vaccination or vaccines that comes from the west.
And we've got other vaccines which they give people at birth. Now, I'm not an advocate for the vaccine, but I'm just giving a thought to how we our perception towards new things. We always think that, oh, there is a hidden agenda, maybe with the coming of mobile money. Why will money be in the phone? I'm okay. And there are actually people, they are taxi drivers today. We see no anything me momo. I'm like, and then what are you doing on the
because
street?
most of them have been duped. A passenger will tell you, I've sent the money to you, and this driver is concentrating on the steering.
Yeah, okay. If it's
so
in
you
that
can
case,
imagine.
if
So
it's in that case,
these are the phenomenon whereby these unscrupulous Cameroonians or persons go away to go a long way to dupe these people.
If it's in that case, then I'm okay with that. But if it's in the aspect that no, I want to touch my money and all of that, I think we need to evolve, because the time is coming, and it's not an issue of it being any bad. Before the coming of money, there were other means of exchange. So if we get to a point in time where we don't have this physical cash, there is nothing so spiritual about it.
All right.
It's something which we all must learn to accept change.
Cashless society. All right, to move away from that mobile money saga to Kumba, where the paramount chief of Kumba, Fon Ekoko Senator Mukete IV, drums a strong message for peace and voters registration all across the Kumba after he visited the 50 quarters that constitutes the town of Kumba.
Well, it's great to see what Fon Mukete IV is doing. He's becoming a symbol, a strong symbol in the town of Kumba. You know, it's one thing to be a traditional ruler in a place, and it's one thing to be the people's traditional ruler. I remember a few weeks ago when there was the issue of bike riders walking on ghost towns, and they had to go to his palace. He was the one. He wasn't even around. Through a phone call, he was able to consult here and there. And
the armed gangsters killed one of the commercial motorbike riders, and I think the deal or the
that was because of passes which were to collect on Monday.
Yeah, he could
the tensions. I think he's becoming more, I wouldn't say
man of the people.
Yeah, a man of the people, a symbol which the people align with, the people reckon with, the people believe in. I think it's interesting, and it's very much laudable. And I think as well other traditional rulers should be able to command that same respect from their people, command that same power from their people, and they cannot command that same power from their people if they are leading from afar.
Okay. Because
we have traditional rulers who have, especially with the coming of the crisis, they have run away from their fondoms or chiefdoms, and they've they're the resident out there, but they still find themselves around as traditional rulers, and they've lost that touch with the grassroots. Things are happening, they are lukewarm, they are not concerned, and all of that. I think it's a call for other traditional rulers to see to it that that link with the people is not compromised, that connection with the people, in as much as the challenges and everything, they continually try to build it, to sustain it, and to become the father figure to the people, which they should be.
All right, we take you to Lagos with Daily Sun. Daily Sun talks of convicted drug baron to get death sentence as Senate approve capital punishment.
Capital punishment in this
death sentence to persons who are they find them guilty of doing drug trafficking in Nigeria. And you know, Nigeria was one of the countries who where capital punishment was not a big deal, but now they say they want it for those that are perpetrating drugs in the country, because we've seen how youth in today's society are quietly on the loose due to excessive drug consumption.
Larry, it's good to see how much they are trying to fight drugs.
Okay.
But this whole issue of drugs, I think when there is an issue, we must try as much as possible to go to the root cause. Why are people taking drugs?
Okay.
There is a high level of unemployment, and it's twofold. Government has to provide employment, and it cannot employ everybody, but as well, the economic system has to be favorable such that the rest can be able to create opportunities for themselves.
Sure.
Now, if it's a fight against drugs is a very long fight. Even in first world countries, they are nowhere over when it concerns drugs. I don't think personally, that's just my observation, giving capital punishment to someone for drug dealing is...
We've seen it with some Asian and Middle Eastern countries.
I don't think it's that bad. I think it's a bad act, but I don't think it's as deserving as death. Now, we understand. I understand that we have lives of youth which are being destroyed. Great. There are politicians who have made away with huge sums of money. Now we have thousands of children in local areas who cannot go to school. Why? Because the farm produce they cultivate cannot be sold to the market, so they remain in poverty. Some of them cannot reach or get to the nearby facilities to access medical care. They end up dying, just like people consume drugs and end up dying. We have other cases where all of this happens. So I think, yes, drugs is bad, but we must be able to tackle some other issues. If there is death sentence, I agree.
Yeah.
But let us be able to give it to other people who make people die in the country. Because I want to tell you that these politicians who end up mismanaging and making away with huge sums of money meant for public goods, they are even the ones promoting these drugs, because the people become frustrated and all they can do is either smoke, take cocaine, marijuana, and you name it. And tramadol and all of that. It's out of frustration, not because the money may not even be there, but because someone has kept the money in bags and he's feeding his children, he's investing, he's creating property, building mansions, having investments all out of the country, and at the end of the day, he's making other people frustrated, and it creates a market where drugs can thrive. Because I think the drug market, people, maybe that's my own perception, because of idleness, the drug market thrives on this idleness. Because if we go maybe in some of the slums in Boya, if there are, you notice that the boys wake up in the morning, they really have nothing doing. Now they have nothing doing. These areas are enclaved. There are no structures there. Everything it's just scattered low. There was money that's been budgeted for these things, which is in someone's back. At the end of the day, you blame them for taking drugs, you blame the person for supplying drugs. If the person who is supplying the drugs is to be killed, then the person who is stealing state funds has to face the
same consequences.
consequences.
And that brings me to mind with the one of the prominent Nigerian artists group, the group Danfo Driver, who said they were speaking with one police officer, some police officer saying that this thing they give free inspiration to talk about the useless government we will get. So that was in the early 2000s, and I will not forget that particular soundtrack. And we take our bags out of the studio with the last paper for today, Cameroon Echoes from Zian Division, that reports on U.S. Embassy Kama Surge equipped journalists on investigative reporting. This was a workshop that just ended in Douala.
Timely. Few months to the presidential elections, few years down the lane, Anglophone crisis, the crisis in the northwest and southwest, and the Anglophone crisis, and all of that. You know, we in the dilemma. We don't even know what to call what again. It's evolved so much so that we don't know what to address. We have a political situation, political leaders. People are using the crisis for their personal aims. There is so much happening. I think which the journalists need to be upskilled to be able to fish out, carefully research, to be able to give out the right information to the public, the information which is proven and which they are very much sure of, which has been well investigated, using all the professional means in place. I think it's very timely in our context because we're facing a lot of challenges, and to an extent the journalist has the role to create the balance, because everything, one side is going up, the other side is down. The journalists, through their pen, through their voices, need to be able to create that balance, and they must be able to create the balance through information. And it's only when they sit for such seminars or investigative reporting, they are armed. Then now, when they go out there is now the public or the stakeholders know that the journalists know what they are doing. You know, like when people know that you know what you're doing, they are very much careful. Sure. So I think it's timely, and it's a booster to the press, and we hope to see that as the days go by, the press in Cameroon will mount on greater podiums and will be able to perform better than we've done in the past years.
Okay, and that's our earnest hope. And with that story from Cameroon Echoes from Zian Division, this is where we conclude today's today's program of Press Brief for Friday, the 10th day of May 2024. Chair Busi, thanks for coming, and it's always a pleasure having you.
Thank you to Larry. Thank you to all the viewers.
I know you're from the radio.
On High Television. To some other time, have a blessed weekend.
All right, a blessed weekend to you all and our viewers, and that was how we saw it on today's program. Catch us on Monday next week as we come with a brand new package of the program Press Brief. From me and the entire crew, is a blessed stay in the company of High Television, and a blessed weekend to you all and your families.